welcome. We're going to get started in just a few moments. In the meantime, as we're still just getting set up here, go ahead and type in that chat box where y'all calling in from and what are you sipping on right now. I'll tell you, I am sipping on some water, and I decided I need a little bit of zest in my life, so I'm going to put some lime in my water. Or is it supposed to be lime in the coconut? I don't know. How's that song go? All right, let me see you guys in the chat box. Where y'all calling in from, and what are you sipping on right now? What are you sipping on right now? All right. I think I'm talking to the wall if I don't see you guys in that chat box. Here we go. Brambleton, Virginia. And who do we have? Lindsay, she's drinking water. Are you inspired to put a little bit of lime in your water now too? A little bit of lime cuts the thirst a little bit, and so does putting just a pinch of Celtic sea salt. All right, everyone, if you're just chiming in with us, go ahead and type in that chat box where are you calling in from and what beverage are you sipping on right now. We have Damascus sipping on water as well, and we've got, I'm having a hard time seeing everybody's names. I think it's Brigitta. Brigitta. That's it, Brigitta. All right, let me see. Who do we have going on here? We've got a couple people here. All right. It is exactly 4 o'clock, so we are going to get the party started. Needed to have a little bit of my water with the lime in it. All right, hello and welcome. Tina McDermott here from Tina's Joyful Kitchen. So happy to have each and every one of you here today. I'll introduce myself a little bit. I call myself the lazy inspirational chef. I'm a speaker and I'm a weight loss coach. I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and there's no place that I'd rather be than right here, right now, in my kitchen, teaching you how to live a life that's full of health, vibrancy, and free from diets, free from dis-ease, and, you know, help you find joy in the kitchen, even if you don't like or know how to cook, right? All right. Oh, and if this is your first show with me, put a number 1. If you've been in one of my cooking classes before, put the number of cooking classes you've been with me. I'd love to know who my audience is and if you've been with me before. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to tell you what we're going to make for the day, And I typically say this because if I don't, something's going to happen. If for some reason the internet goes out, which it shouldn't, paid enough money to get this house upgraded, then just stay tight. My assistant Caitlin will be right. I'll be right back, but Caitlin will be with you. And also, I found that when we multitask, science says that we literally experience less joy. I'm all about joy in my life, and if you're about joy in your life, type joy in the chat. Okay, this is your first time with me. Type joy in the chat if you're all about joy, right? So when we multitask, we experience less joy. So get your phones. Here, I'm going to grab my phone. Here's my phone. Put it on silent. Close it off. Close out all of your browsers and be with me 100%. And I promise you, you will experience so much joy. If you're in, type I'm in the chat to be with me 100%. Close out all those browsers and just have a lot of fun and joy with me. Yes. I love it, love it, love it. Oh, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and type in that chat box where you're calling in from and what are you sipping on, okay? What are we making today? I am making your recipes. And what I did is I put a little Tina twist on your recipes because, you know, I call myself the lazy inspirational chef. And I want you to be inspired to take recipes and tailor them to your flavors, to your likes. And also, what do you have in your house? What do you have in your pantry? You don't always have to, like if the recipe calls for spinach and all you have is kale, use kale. If all you have is frozen spinach, use frozen. It's all good. Be inspired to use whatever flavors you like as well and substitute some things out. So we are going to make some healthy vegetable soup. My twist is to make it Italian. Why? Because I'm Italian. My parents are off the boat Italian. And we would make a minestrone. So when I read the recipe, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is minestrone. So that's kind of what we're making. Vegetable soup, same thing, same thing, same thing. And then we're going to make a pasta salad. It's a California club pasta salad. You know how they make the clubs with the bacon and all of that stuff, but we're going to make it with pasta, and we're going to make it super duper healthy. And on that note, so that I can cook the pasta and have it ready and cooled off, we're going to start cooking the pasta right now. So you guys are ready to go? If you're ready to go, put go in the chat. Put go in the chat if you guys are ready to rock and roll, and go. Type go in that chat box if you're ready to rock and roll with me, and go. All right. So I already have a couple of quarts of water boiling on the stove top. And the trick is to get large grain sea salt. I always use sea salt. Sea salt is really good for you. It's got all of the minerals that our bodies are depleted of, because our vegetables, our soil is depleted. Even if you eat all organic, the soil is still depleted of the minerals. So eat sea salt, and it's not sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is highly, highly processed and causes a lot of high blood pressure. So sea salt, the large grain, is what we use for the pasta. And get yourself a nice large pinch. You see I'm doing a nice large pinch there, and throw it in right as the water is boiling. Right as the water is boiling. Otherwise, the pasta will be, the word in Italian is sciappo, which means bland, right? I think it means bland, sciappo. And we don't want our pasta to be sciappo. Next thing, I'm going to dump this in right now. And Caitlin, I need a 10-minute timer. Let's test it in 10 minutes. And then I'll talk a little bit about the pasta. Actually, Caitlin, let's do an 8-minute timer, because I haven't made this particular brand before, and I want to test it in 8 minutes, because we want our pasta al dente. Who knows what al dente means? Type in the chat if you know what al dente means. What does al dente mean? Anybody? Anybody? Al dente. Al dente means, if you don't know the answer, still firm, of the tooth, or toothsome. So you can still, still firm. Good. And that's what you want, just a little bit of firmness, because if you cook it to mush, when you strain the water, it still cooks because there's still heat in there, and then you'll get super mush, if not like soup of pasta, and you don't want that. So we want it toothsome, al dente. And I have chosen to do a rice pasta. It's gluten-free. If you know anything about me, which you may or may not, I had Lyme disease. It was chronic. I probably had it from a teenager, discovered in my mid-30s. Took me 5 years to get rid of it, but it also did a lot to my digestive system and to my brain. So nowadays, I make sure that all I eat completely gluten-free. And if I do touch gluten or MSG, it's another trigger of mine. I can't make sentences. I have a hard time digesting food, and tummy cramps and gas and bloating. And who wants that? Who wants that? Which is why I wrote the book, The Joyful Gut Reboot Guide, which I'm going to give you a link to it at the end of our class here. As a matter of fact, Caitlin, go ahead and put that in now and at the end as well, so people get it, so that you can have a joyful gut, free from the gas and the bloating and the tired and the zombie feel. So this is rice-based. There's lots of other pastas that are gluten-free. Experiment with them and see which one you like. Now, if you have tried some of these gluten-free pastas and like them, put it in the chat. Let us know which ones you've tried and you liked. The garbanzo bean ones, I don't like. And as a matter of fact, I kind of don't even go for the pastas, the gluten-free pastas, but if I'm going to make a pasta salad for a party, I will definitely make a gluten-free one. All right, so the pasta's cooking, and I need to stir it up. You just don't want it to stick on the bottom. And all good Italians have tons of wooden spoons. I don't know how many, but there's a lot in my drawer. Who has a lot of wooden spoons in their drawer? Put wooden spoons in the chat. If you have a lot of wooden spoons in your drawer, put wooden spoons in the chat. Let me see it. If you don't, this is the way to cook. I love my wooden spoons. Love, love, love my wooden spoons. Now, we're going to get started on our soup here. No, I got one person who has wooden spoons. Nobody else? Just one? Just one. Okay. All right. And we're going to get started on the soup. And we're going to start with always a little bit of olive oil on the bottom of a pan. This is a cast iron Dutch oven pan that can go on the stovetop. It can go right into the oven. You can even do this in a An Instant Pot, you can saute in the Instant Pot and do it there. Normally I use the Instant Pot, but I've recently taken this out of the storage and I'm using my Dutch oven heavy. It's cast iron, but it's got a coating on it and I really, really like it. It's a little heavy, a little bit of an effort to clean it, a little more than the Instant Pot, but that's okay. I think the food comes out really good. Really, really good. So what I'm doing here, we're going to start with the trilogy. And when you're making soups, you always start with the trilogy. Who knows what the trilogy is? Who knows what the trilogy? Anybody? Type it in the chat. Who knows what the trilogy is? I'm going to turn my cutting board upside down, the other way. Anybody know what the trilogy is? The Trilogy of Vegetables? Anybody? 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 All right. The trilogy are the hard, crunchy vegetables, if I can give you a little bit of a hint there. The hard, crunchier vegetables. Onions, carrots, and celery. Onions, carrots, and celery. You guys promised to be with me 100%. So who gets it now? What's the trilogy? Tell me, I just said it. Somebody type it in the chat. Everyone type it in the chat. What is the trilogy when you're making a soup? What is the trilogy when you're making a soup? What is that trilogy when you're making a soup? Who knows what that trilogy is? Onion, celery, and carrots. Yes. Onion, celery, and carrots. By the way, never scoop up your vegetables with your knife because A, you'll cut yourself, B, you'll dull your knife. So always grab something like so to throw those in. So I always put the onions in first, and then I'm going to put some of the harder vegetables, like carrots are a little harder than celery. So I'm going to do the carrots next. Look how pretty. I had purple carrots, yellow carrots, and orange carrots. Aren't they just beautiful? Remember to eat the rainbow. Eat as many colors as you can throughout the day. So when I found this package, of course, we ate the purple ones because they were so pretty and fun to eat. Eat the rainbow, as many colors as you can get. Buy them and eat them up. Now, let me show you how to cut a carrot. When you have something that is round, very easy for that to slip out of your fingers. Also, I'm making bigger pieces. You know, they say consistency of cut, but you know, I don't have to have everything exactly the same size so that they cook evenly, but almost, okay? So I'm going to cut my carrot in half, and now I'm going to cut it in a half again. Make round things flat. I want you all to really get this. So type in the chat, round things flat, round things flat, round things flat. And now I'm going to use my entire knife. I'm not just going to chop straight down. I'm going to use the whole knife. Get a little bit of elbow grease involved with chopping, not just straight down, okay? Remember, round things flat, make them flat so they're not going to roll around, and then use the whole knife to chop up your carrot. And if you're frustrated with anybody or anything in your life, chop vegetables, and it's very cathartic, as my sister would say. Very cathartic. Round things flat. Good. You guys pay attention. You guys are with me. I love it. I love it. I love it. I so happen to adore carrots in a soup. It makes the soup a little on the sweeter side, and I kind of like a sweeter soup. If you don't like a sweeter soup, then don't put as many of the sweeter vegetables. Who likes the sweeter soup? Put sweet in the chat if you like a soup that's a little on the sweeter side. If you like a soup that's a little on the sweeter side, put sweet in the chat. And if you don't, if you like it more like majorly savory, then put savory in the chat. Another way to make this soup a little sweeter is to add in butternut squash or sweet potatoes. Instead of using beans in the recipe, I would use sweet potatoes in this in a soup. Yes, sweet potatoes in a soup are delicious. Absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. So you see, just keep throwing stuff in there as it cooks and stir it up every once in a while. Now, the next thing I want to put in there, I didn't put the celery yet. I'll get to it in a few moments, but I want some garlic in there because I want that garlic to stir fry in that olive oil. Okay, so I'm making the heat go a little bit lower. And if you're going to use, you can use your powdered garlic, you can use your jarred garlic, but you're not going to get the immune boosting properties that you're going to get from using fresh garlic. Who wants a very strong immune system? If you want a very strong immune system, type I in the chat. Type I in the chat. If you want, or me, or I, or whatever, tell me, do you want a strong immune system? Do you want the strongest immune system that you could possibly have? Eat fresh garlic, antiviral, antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial, all of those things all in one. Eat fresh garlic. You're gonna get the flavor from the jarred stuff, but not as powerful as you are from the fresh garlic. And if you have farmers markets near you, please visit your farmer and buy some fresh garlic. It is amazing. Okay, Google, stop. So let me cut up the garlic, and I'm going to tell you the other thing that I did. For the Cobb salad, I made real bacon because we are real human beings. We want to eat real food, and real food comes from real bacon. Or yeah, anyhow. So let me turn that down a little bit. I'm going to check the pasta first because that is the most crucial. Let's check the pasta. Two more minutes. I never eat on a cooking show, but when you have to test your noodles, you need your teeth in order to do it. So 2 more minutes, Caitlin. And next, I'm going to check the bacon. I want to see if it's nice and crispy. Okay. I threw the package away. I forgot to keep it. But I got uncured bacon. Uncured bacon does not have the nitrites and nitrates that preserve the meat. And if it's preserving the meat, what is it doing to you? Somebody tell me, what is it doing to you? Do you see how crispy I made this? I'm going to move it back over there and let it cool off so I don't burn myself. I want an answer on that. If it's preserving the meat, what is it doing to you? If it's preserving the meat, what is it doing to you? Somebody, anybody? If it's preserving the meat, what is it doing to you? It's preserving you. Okay. So you want to get bacon that's nitrate free. We're going to check that pasta in a few moments. All right. I have to admit, when you cook, there is multitasking going on in the cooking process. However, the entire multitasking is all on the same task, or what's the word I'm looking for the same purpose of having soup or having a meal. Okay. Did you see what I did? I scored my celery. I scored the celery just to make it easier. And I didn't score it all the way. I didn't cut it all the way through because this way it's easier for me to handle and hold with my fingers. Okay. I'm just going to walk my fingers back as I'm chopping my celery.
And your timer's going off.
For the pasta, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if you see me tossing stuff over there, does anybody have a clue what over there is, where I'm tossing stuff? Anybody know? I'm giving it back to Mother Earth. Anybody still know what that is? Giving it back to Mother Earth. The other thing you want to do, yes, compost, give it back to Mother Earth. She knows what to do with it. I'm not going to do this because it will make me cough. But in the hot oil, you want to put some hot pepper flakes, hot pepper pieces, just a little bit, and it really pops the flavor. It pops the flavor. Also, any dried herbs, you want to put them right here in the oil. Fresh herbs, you want to put them later. Dried herbs, you want to put them now. There's one dried herb that we are using, and it's not really an herb. It's a bay leaf, but I don't want it to get broken up. I want to be able to take it out whole. And as I'm stirring, it might break up. So I'll put it in a little bit. I got to go check the pasta. I'll be right back. Woo, that's hot. One more piece. You know I'm Italian, right? And in every American recipe about pasta, it always says to rinse the pasta. I don't get it. I don't understand why people rinse pasta. That's an extra step. Remember, I call myself the lazy inspirational chef. Why? Why do you have to do that extra step? I do not understand. And if anybody has an explanation, by all means, speak up. I really, really, really want to know. Now is the time to put the tomatoes in. Now is the time to put the tomatoes. You can easily do a jar of sliced tomatoes. I had it all ready to go to put into the soup for today. And my husband comes home from work and he has a friend who has a garden on the Eastern Shore. I don't know what it is about the tomatoes on the Eastern Shore, but they are out of this world phenomenal. So if you have some fresh tomatoes, go ahead and throw those into your soup. If you'd rather use a jar, then use the jar. My husband doesn't eat tomatoes right out, so there's a lot of them. So I might as well just use them for my soup. Why not? Why not? It really pops the soup as well. And tomatoes are sweet. Oh, this is a good test question. Are tomatoes a fruit or a vegetable? Who knows? Are tomatoes a fruit or a vegetable? A fruit or a vegetable? Anybody know? Yep, they're a fruit. Tomatoes are a fruit. Yep. And you see how I'm just taking that piece out and I'm digging deep to get that piece out. I'm digging it deep. My mom has jarred tomatoes her whole life. And when we're jarring the tomatoes, of course, I've done it with her. See that little white piece on the tomato? She said that is what causes a lot of water. And you don't want a lot of water, especially when you're jarring tomatoes. So I always make sure to get that white piece out, get that whole stem out. All right, who's inspired to use real tomatoes in their soup? Who's inspired to put real whole tomatoes in their soup? This is a treat because in the wintertime, you don't get fresh tomatoes, but you could freeze these. I think you parboil them for like 1 minute and then put them in freezer baggies. And I would have frozen tomatoes to throw into soup all winter long. But my mom jars them, so I always have fresh jarred tomatoes, or I can buy them. If you're going to buy tomatoes, I really encourage people to do. I love this brand, Glen, but I encourage you to get organic because a lot of the jarred foods, the jars, the canned foods, I meant to say, the cans are lined with a plastic that has BPA in it. BPA, a very long word, but it's in plastics and it leaches into the food or the water. If you have a water bottle that's not BPA free, most people are familiar with that. It's a xenoestrogen, which is known to cause cancer. So you want to make sure that you are BPA free, and not all cans disclose that. If it's organic, it will be BPA free. Okay, somebody type BPA free, yay, in the chat. BPA free, yay, in the chat box. BPA free in the chat box, yes. I got a couple more tomatoes to go. Anybody? Is that just too corny to type BPA free, yay, or BPA? I don't know. I'm trying to be corny with you guys, but that's okay. Life is for joy and for corniness. All corniness is welcome, right? Okay. Remove starch and stop the cooking process while I rinse my pasta. Yeah, you remove the starch, but my mom has made pasta her whole life. She home makes pasta, and never have we ever rinsed it ahead of time. Yeah, you can stop the cooking process, or you can take it out of the water while it's al dente. And so, okay, well, thank you for adding that in the chat. I appreciate it. I got 2 more maters to go. 2 more maters to go. The funny thing is I have a whole bunch of Roma tomatoes over there that I was thinking of using for the soup. And now I've got these fresh tomatoes, and now I've got a whole bunch of Roma tomatoes. Uh-oh, this one's not good. Sometimes you cut into a tomato and it's not pretty. Just toss it, give it back to Mother Earth. She'll know what to do with it. Who here composts? Put a 1 in the chat if you compost. Put a 0 if you don't even know what composting is. If you compost, put a 1 in the chat. If you compost, put a 1 in the chat. Good. And I want to say a sincere thank you for typing in the chat box for me. I don't get to see your gorgeous faces, but when I see those chats coming in, I know that you're there, and it just makes me feel so wonderful and welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm going to put a little tomato paste in there. You do not need tomato paste in a soup. You don't need it, but it makes the soup a little richer, a little thicker, and you can opt for it. But if you don't have it, don't worry about it. It's not going to make a humongous difference. Not going to make a humongous difference. This is my can opener from Pampered Chef that I really, really like, because the lid never goes into the food. And who disinfects and washes the top of their lids? I don't. Most people don't. And it's nice when the lid doesn't go into the food. Okay. All right. Tomato paste. Here it goes. Right in the pot. Okay. All right. There we go. We're not going to do the tomatoes. We'll put those aside. Next, we're going to put in whatever vegetables we want to put in. What vegetables do you want in your soup? What vegetables do you want in your soup? I made a ratatouille the other day for a cooking show, and I had some extra eggplant that was left over, and I chopped up one of them, and I'm going to add it right to the soup. Why not? Why not put in your soup what you are inspired to put in your soup? Okay. Eggplant is typical for ratatouille, but it's really good in soups as well. I love eggplant. So in it goes, and you can do whatever seasonal vegetables you want. Next, I'm going to do a zucchini. This is a wonderful zucchini. I tend to buy most of my vegetables organic, so that I can get more of the vitamins and the minerals and avoid the pesticides that could possibly be cancer causing, right? And I have a sister that passed away from cancer, and she was only 48 when she passed away, and I am 5 years almost 6 years her senior at this point. It's kind of baffling to me to look back and realize that I have survived my sister by, yeah, it'll be 6 years this year. In October, it'll be 6 years. Interesting, isn't it? It's wacko. Anyhow, we want to avoid any kind of dis-ease in our lives. And how do you do that? By eating foods that were given to us by Mother Earth, that without the use of pesticides, without the use of poor soils, just people who have put love into their gardening, yeah. They give up, they grow vegetables with love so that we can be healthy, right? That's why I love when people get to know their farmers and at their farmers market, because some of the farmers could be have organic practices but not afford the organic seal, right? So get to know your farmer. You don't know. Who here loves farmers markets? Put farmers market in the chat if you love farmers markets. If you love farmers markets and you go to farmers market, put farmers market in the chat. Next, we're going to put in a broth. This is supposed to be a vegetarian vegetable soup. Oh, I'll talk to you about the beans in a moment too. But I couldn't find vegetable broth at the store, but I do in my refrigerator. I have miso. Miso is, miso soup. Miso soup made from what? Soybeans, right? Well, me and soybeans, we don't get along really well. And there is miso that is also made from chickpeas. And this can be your bouillon base, okay? This can be your bouillon base. It's fermented, and they're organic chickpeas that I am just going to take a big old scoop of that and put it right into my soup, and it's going to pop the flavor. It's going to pop the flavor and just make it absolutely delicious. Or you could use better than bouillon that comes vegetable, chicken, pork. I don't know if you're vegan or vegetarian, but you either use a miso or get an organic broth. Most broths, most stocks have MSG in it. MSG passes the blood-brain barrier, which is supposed to protect you. This is water, by the way. I'm adding some water. It's supposed to protect you from toxins and the such, but it passes the blood-brain barrier and it goes to the brain cells that are most susceptible. How lovely or not is that? How terrible is that? It's actually terrible. All right, I need a little bit more water. Can you guys see that? Can you see what's brewing up over here? I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit. And salt. I did not put any salt in here, right? Where is my salt and pepper? Right in front of my face. I'm going to use my sea salt. This is a Himalayan pink sea salt. And I'm only going to put a half a teaspoon in there. It was a heaping half a teaspoon. You can add more later, okay? You can add more later. We're going to stir that up. And I'm going to put the lid on for about 10 minutes. I need a 10-minute timer, Caitlin. And when that is done, we're going to add the beans, and I'll talk all about the beans. Oh, 2 more things. I forgot. 3 more things. Bay leaf, throwing that in there. And this is thyme that was fresh. I dried it out. It's not completely dry yet, but I'm just going to put the whole thing in there, and I'll be able to scoop that whole thing out. You could tie it with a little string, but I'm lazy. I'll pick it out later. The other thing I wanted to put in there are some green beans. I didn't find any really nice ones fresh, but I had a bag that was frozen, some organic green beans that were frozen, and I'm just putting them right into my soup. There we go. Use whatever vegetables you like. What vegetables would you put in your soup? Go ahead and type it in the chat. Which vegetables would you opt to put in your soup? Go ahead and type that in the chat. Which vegetables would you opt to put in your soup? Yeah, put those in the chat box. We're going to talk about the beans right now. Yeah, let's talk about the beans. Okay. The beans are already cooked, and I'm going to cook them a little bit more in the soup. I can put them in now, or I can put them in about, I think I'm going to wait 10 minutes to put them in because I don't want them to fall apart. I'm just testing them. I'm just testing to see how done they are. What I did with the beans, let me show you. I got them from dry, and I soaked them overnight. I put them, this was covered with water, and I let them soak overnight. And the next day I rinsed that water out, rinsed the beans, and dumped that water as well, and then just let it sit in the dark. I put a paper towel over this. And what happens is that the beans begin to sprout. Can you see that little nub coming up? That's the sprout. And when it sprouts, when your beans sprout, they become so much more digestible, much more digestible. The longer they sprout, the more digestion that you will have. Then I put them in my Instant Pot, a pressure cooker specifically, and I pressure cooked them for about 10 minutes. If you didn't pre-soak them longer, but pre-soaking really neutralizes the phytic acid. When you cook them in the pressure cooker, it makes the indigestible fiber and sugars more digestible by 75%. So if you have gas and bloating when you eat beans, it's because you haven't neutralized the phytic acid and made the actual protein available to you. So cook them in your pressure cooker. Who here has cooked beans in their pressure cooker? Put pressure cooker in the chat if you have cooked. So these are uncooked, and here are my cooked ones. These are my cooked ones, and I'll save those to put them in the pressure cooker. Okay, so let's put this aside, and let's get going on our pasta salad. Who's ready for pasta salad? Put pasta in the chat if you're ready for a pasta salad. You're ready for pasta salad? Put pasta in the chat box. Let me see some pasta in that chat box. All right. Good. Good, good, good. Pressure cooker. So you know what I mean with the pressure cooker. Okay, we're going to get our cooled off pasta, and I'm going to throw it right in my bowl. Right in my bowl, and set that aside. And then I'm going to start with, what should we start with? I'm going to start with making the dressing. The recipe calls for ranch dressing. I don't eat any kind of bottled dressings. And the ones that are organic and that have the good oils in it, and I'm guaranteed not to have MSG, are so expensive, I might as well make it myself. So I'm going to teach you how to make a real basic, quick ranch dressing that A, doesn't cost you a fortune, B, is just as good in my opinion. So we're going to put, I don't measure. I remember I'm lazy, about a cup, 3/4 of a cup, whatever I think I need for my salad, of some whole milk Greek yogurt. You can use regular yogurt as well, because we might want to water this down and make it a little thinner. We might want to make it a little thicker. You're going to do it to your liking, okay? I'm going to put some Italian seasoning. This is Italian seasoning. This one's not organic. However, when I look at the label, it says marjoram, thyme, basil, rosemary, savory, and oregano, period. There's no ambiguous words like spices, natural flavors, any of that stuff. It's not in there. I'm going to put some chives just because I want chives in my ranch. I don't think chives are in the original ranch, but they're in my ranch because that's what I want. I have some dill. So I'm going to put a little bit of dill. I need to put this in a little jar. Okay. I'm going to get some fresh garlic, and I'm looking for my garlic masher. Here it is. When I want minced garlic, you get your garlic masher. And there you go. Nice fresh garlic. If you want to use your garlic salt, I don't even use the garlic salt because I like sea salt in my food. If I'm going to use it for a rub, I'll use garlic powder. Okay, so we've got some fresh garlic in there. We need some sea salt in here. Don't let me over put stuff in. Don't let me double up on stuff. Okay, we're going to put some freshly ground black pepper. Freshly ground black pepper is just astounding, the flavor profile based compared to already cracked black pepper. I recommend highly that everyone invest in a pepper grinder and get whole pepper. Okay, next we're going to do lemon. And just for quickness, I'm going to get my lemon squeezy thing out and squeeze some lemon juice in there. If you don't want to do all lemon juice, you don't have to. You could just do some apple cider vinegar or a little bit more apple cider vinegar. Do you see how I'm kind of winging it? Once you understand the flavors and what you like, you'll know exactly what to put in, when to put in. I'm going to get some fresh parsley. I buy my parsley and I put it in a jar with water and set it on the counter. If I'm going to use it in a couple of days, if I need it to last a little longer, I'll put it in the refrigerator right in that jar. It's probably ready for the fridge at this time. Okay, move that lemon out of the way. I'm going to put some fresh parsley. And because I don't want to chop up my parsley really fine to go in my dressing, I am going to put the parsley right into the pasta salad, right into the salad. Get it chopped up. You see how I'm just holding the knife and pivoting it to get it nice and chopped up, but you can't have a whole bunch of stuff all around you like I have. Clear your work area, as my husband would say over and over again. Clean work area. Okay. There we go. And I'm just going to put that right in the pasta salad because there's no reason it might not mix well with everything else. Here we go. I'm going to mix that up. And if you want it a little more watery, if you want it, you can add milk to it. You can add some buttermilk. And if you want to know how to make buttermilk, put a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a cup of milk. Let it sit for a few minutes and you have buttermilk. And you have buttermilk. Here you go. Again, most bottle dressings are full of MSG, monosodium glutamate. You might not see it on the label because it's hidden under a whole bunch of words, on 78 plus different words that MSG is hidden under. Now, I am going to taste this because we want to make sure that we like the flavor profile of it. This thing turned off, so I'm trying to put it back on. I don't know why it turned off on me. Okay. Needs a little bit more salt. Like I said, you could always You can always add it, but you cannot take it away. I think it needs a little bit more punch. So I'm going to put a little bit more lemon juice in there. There we go. Give that back to Mother Earth. And the other thing you can do with your lemon rinds, instead of putting them in the compost or the trash, put them in your garbage, your trash compactor, because it will freshen it up and it'll disinfect it, because lemons really do. They disinfect. Lemons disinfect. All right. Are you guys learning something and having fun? If you're having fun, put joy in the chat. If you're having fun, put joy in the chat. I want to make sure you're all having fun, that you're all with me, and that you're having a good time. You know what that needs? It needs a little bit of hot pepper. I'm not going to put it in. It'll make me sneeze. And we can't have that. So I'm just going to put a little bit more black pepper in there. And this is wonderful for your, not just your pasta salad, but your regular salads. Throw it in. So I'm going to, ideally you want to make this and let it sit in the fridge for a couple hours so that it marries, right? The flavors marry. I need to clean that up. Give me a second. Where is it? First of all, my gorgeous Caitlin assistant, the one that was just talking to you, saw me break one of these the other week and bought it for me. Thank you. I love you. And I just didn't feel like taking it out. And this is a very, very, very old lemon squeezer that I got from my godmother, who has hence passed away. And I think about her every time I use it. There are other kinds on the market. I don't think you'll ever find this one again on the market. But yeah, very, very old. Okay, so my timer went off for my soup, right? And that is to put the beans in there. Okay, now if you don't want to put beans in there, I have some leftover potatoes that I baked up. You could cut up potatoes and put potatoes in there, but the potatoes are not going to have the protein that the beans are going to have. If you can see, this is nice and boiling. And I'm going to throw my beans in there, stir it up. And let this cook for another 10 minutes. This is also where you're going to put spinach. Chop up spinach and throw it in whole. If I did that, my husband will not like me tonight, okay? He does not like spinach in his soup, so I'm not going to put it in to honor my husband, but that's when you would put it towards the end. Caitlin, another 10-minute timer, please, dear. Okay. Now I'm going to put the other stuff that I want into, let me do this. Let me move that there. Let's move this here in front of me. The other stuff that I want to put into my California Cobb pasta salad, I'm going to put some green onions. Maybe we'll do 3 green onions in this, maybe more. I don't know. How many green onions would you put in? How many green, yeah, tell me, how many green onions would you put in this pasta salad? How many would you want to put in? What are you inspired? Do you even like green onions? What kind of lemon squeeze? Okay, yeah. Do you even like, how many green onions would you put in? Would you put in 3? Would you put in 4? Would you put in 6? Would you put in regular onions? You know, and that's just it. Remember, when you're looking at a recipe, use what you're inspired, what you like, what you have in the fridge, right? Oh, I want to make a pasta salad. What do I want to put in it? Just think, what would you want in your pasta salad? All right, here we go. Got the green onions in there. A couple more tomatoes, some fresh tomatoes. I'm gonna get that nub out of there and put some nice fresh tomatoes in there. I saved 2 of the really good ones. Okay. Looks like you guys are having a good time. I like it. Good. Good. We're gonna have some nice soup really soon. We're going to have a nice pasta salad that you can take to a friend's house. And you know, you don't have to wait for, it doesn't have to be summertime for you to bring pasta salad to an event. Okay. Pasta salad is something you can make a lot of, and it feeds a lot of people. How many cups of vegetables do you think that we need to be eating on a daily basis? How many? How many cups of vegetables do you think we need to be eating on a daily basis? Somebody type it in the chat. Green onions are okay. You like red and yeah, I found these Georgia sweet onions. that are amazing. I will eat them like an apple. Not really, but they're wonderful. I'll put a half an onion in my salad and eat the whole thing. How many cups of vegetables do you think that you need on a daily basis? Somebody typed in 3. Anybody else? Anybody else have an answer for me? How many cups of vegetables do you think you need on a daily basis? Anybody else? Anybody else? 3 is all I got. Somebody said 0. I'm not sure what that was for, if it was for this or for something else. But we really need 10 to 12 cups of vegetables a day. So if you're going to make a pasta salad, throw a whole bunch of vegetables in there. I would throw a whole bunch more. What else would I put in there? Maybe some cucumbers, whatever I find fresh, whatever's around. Next, I'm going to cut up some meat to go in here. I'm going to cut up some meat. I've got some, where's the lid for this? Uncured honey ham. Uncured means it does not have nitrites and nitrates. Remember with the bacon, it was the same discussion. You don't want the cured. That's all the preservatives. And if it's preserving the meat, what is it doing to you? Remember, I had a sister who passed away from breast cancer. I don't want breast cancer, and I want the world to be free of it. So how else to do it but eat foods that are as close to Mother Nature as possible? No chemicals. Say no to chemicals. Say no to chemicals. So we're going to do about a 1/4 pound of, that's a little much, maybe a little bit less. So I'm going to do some ham and I'm going to do some turkey. And I'm just going to chop it up roughly. You don't have to get fancy with it, but just make sure that it's uncured. Are you all with me on that? Say with me if you get it, if you're really getting the fact that you really need to be eating uncured lunch meats if you're going to be eating lunch meats and bacon and such. Yeah, if you're getting it. Yeah. Same thing with my turkey breast. It's uncured. That's all we eat in this house is uncured. Okay. If we eat it. My husband likes to have sandwiches with it. I eat it every once in a while when I don't have time to make lunch or forgot to make lunch or something. Who knows? Okay. Here we go. We're going to put in some turkey. Put that aside for now. Put that aside. And all right, I'm going to be honest with you. I touched meat and it grosses me out sometimes. I can't touch anything else. So I'm going to go wash my hands and I'll be right back. Okay. And, it's not just for the fact that it grosses me out, is that when you touch meat, you really shouldn't be touching anything else. And yes, that includes lunch meat. So I'm going to turn this over and I'll wash this later. Oh, yes, I'll wash the cloth underneath it later too. There we go. So back to our salad. Now I'm going to pour our dressing over top. And then we'll mix it up. Oh, wait a minute. What am I forgetting? Does anybody know what I'm forgetting here? Anybody? Anybody know what I'm forgetting in this salad? Anybody know what I'm forgetting in this salad? Bacon. I love bacon. Absolutely love, love, love bacon. I think bacon is just, could be a food group. And yes, you're talking to a health coach. As long as you get the uncured bacon. I will even save this bacon fat and use it if I'm cooking up eggs or something. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the crispier pieces of bacon. I'm not going to put it on a cutting board and cut it up. I'm just going to put them in there and break it up as I'm mixing things up. If you want to get rid of some of the grease, by all means, put it on some paper towels. I don't have a problem with fat. Fat is not the culprit in my life. It's mostly grains and sugars. So you can do as much or as little as you want. I think that's enough for now. If I want to put more, I can put more on later. By the way, that was a stone pan that I cooked on, that I cooked the bacon on, and it cooks it really evenly. I have to tell you a story. This summer, I was at the beach house, a couple months, beginning of this month, actually, for my mom's birthday. And I was cooking bacon for the family in 2 different pans. I have a stone pan at the beach house. So I had 2 pounds of bacon. One went on the stone and the other one went on, an old tin cookie tray. And I put them both in the oven. And the same amount of time, like 20 minutes, 400 degrees, it works, right? 20 minutes, the regular pan burned to a crisp. And the one in the stone was absolutely perfect because I'm just used to cooking in the stone. So my dog is outside tied up, it's all open area where we were. and I put the pan out on in the driveway. I didn't realize he could get to it. He ate it all. Yep, he ate a pound of bacon. I felt like a bad mama. Anyhow, all right, here we have it. Here we have it, our California Cobb bacon salad. If you want a little bit more meat, you can put a little bit more meat in here. If you wanted to cut that bacon up a little bit more, you can cut it up a little bit more on a cutting board. You can put more bacon if you want. And then you are going to, if you're going to serve it, I would get a big platter and put spinach at the bottom, something really good and yummy that people should be eating, and then serve it with the Cobb salad on top. Because remember, we need 10 to 12 cups of vegetables a day. And how else are we going to get it than when we, serve it to people? When you serve it, people will be more likely to eat it. Look how nice that is. Doesn't that look appetizing? Yay. How long did it take? 20 minutes. 20 minutes, 400 degrees. But remember, that was on my stoneware, and on the regular pan, it burned at 20 minutes. So you got to take a look at that and go, some things that make you go, Okay. Finally, we are going to serve our vegetable soup. We're going to serve our vegetable soup. And I want you to know, oops, here we go. Take that lid off. By the way, did you see how I took that lid off? The lid is always full of water and you don't want to burn yourself or get it all over your stovetop. So get into the habit of picking up your lid, moving it over, and then turning it over. And be careful you don't burn yourself. I'm going to put this in the sink because it's really hot. And I don't want to put it on the granite. Okay. And I need a ladle. Here we go. In Italy, this is how we serve soup. You serve it in a bowl, of course, obviously in a bowl. And you're going to serve it. You can put a little extra parsley on the top, but I am going to serve it. First of all, I'm going to take the bay leaf out. Take that bay leaf out. And you get a little bit of extra finishing salt. It could be a thick salt, a coarse salt, or a flaky salt is better. This one's too the word in Italian is grande. It's too big. I don't want that. And I have a flakier salt over here, a little bit of flaky, as opposed to the finer sea salt. A little bit flaky, get a little pinch, throw it on the top like so, just a little bit. And if you're not used to handling salt with your fingers and how much that is, get used to that. Get used to that because it's just, I don't know, it makes you feel closer to the food. And then you're going to dollop it with some really good fresh olive oil. Just a little dollop up at the top, and then a little bit of Parmesan cheese, preferably freshly grated. And that's my dad's job, and he's up in New Jersey right now. So, well, that's where he lives. And that's how we serve soup in Italy. And there we have it, our wonderful vegetarian vegetable soup and our Cobb salad. Where's the Cobb salad? Here we go. And our Cobb salad. So there we have it. And I would love, first of all, I want to give you that gift. Caitlin is going to put the link in the chat to the Joyful Gut Reboot Guide. That is my special gift to you. And before we go, I would love to know, what have you found most valuable about our time together today? What is that one thing that you're going to take away and go, yes, I learned that? What did you find most valuable about our time together today? Thank you, Caitlin, for putting that link in the chat there. And thank you, everyone, for all of your interaction. You've been a wonderful audience, and I hope that you will make some of these recipes. And, I'd love to know, which is your favorite recipe? Is it the soup recipe? Is it the pasta salad recipe? Which one of these which one of these are more likely you're going to make? Making healthier ingredient choices. Yes. Thank you. Is that Mitchell? Mitchell, you don't know about the chickpea miso, or that it can use instead of bouillon? Okay. Oh, yeah. Chickpea miso. There's all different kind of miso. There's a Zucchini bean miso. There's a whole bunch of different misos that you can use. I want to say a sincere thank you for being here. Learning about making the ranch dressing. Yes. Yeah, you don't want bad oils or MSG in your life. You really don't. You feel like you should be trying to, oh, yeah, cooking your own beans. Just look up a recipe. It's so easy and it's so much more healthy, especially if you're like beans and you get gas and bloating. Yeah, absolutely. Well, good. I'm so glad that you have found amazing, valuable things from our time together today. It pleases me to no end. I want to say thank you from the top to the bottom to the middle of my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next time, namaste.